NBA because Thursday, 3 p.m., that is the NBA's trade deadline. And as of right now, we're all just waiting on the Giannis domino. He's currently away from the Bucks with a calf injury again. And if you listen to Doc Rivers, Giannis will be back with the Bucks after the calf injury, too.
Giannis has said everything that we need to hear, that he wants to be a Buck, he loves the city. And that's all I can go by as a coach right now. Has it been difficult? Yeah, your players every day have to hear stuff every single day about not just their best player, but they're thrown in the mix as well. My favorite day of the year this year will be the day after the trade deadline. That'll be my favorite day because I think everyone will be here and we can get to, you know what I'm saying? So I'm looking forward to that.
I do not blame him for feeling that way at all. Shams is here. This time a year ago, you were breaking the AD Luka trade. So here we are, like 365 days later. What are you hearing about Giannis?
So, unlike a year ago, Luka Doncic had no idea. In the middle of the night, he's traded to the Lakers for a team that wanted to trade him.
Right.
This is a little bit different. Giannis Antetokounmpo has made it clear to those that need to know in the Milwaukee organization that he's ready to move on from them, and he's ready for his exit, whether it's at the deadline or in the offseason. And over the weekend, the Bucks remain engaged with NBA teams that have interest, that have given aggressive proposals. My understanding is they've submitted counteroffers to those aggressive proposals as well. And the Heat, Timberwolves, Golden State Warriors, the New York Knicks, those have been the most serious suitors out of the mix so far for Giannis. But it all comes down to the price point for him, right?
Yeah.
A young player or a surplus of draft picks. So who meets that mark between now and the next 4 days up until the Thursday NBA trade deadline? And the Bucks have to manage the risk and reward, whether you do a deal now or you wait for the offseason when Giannis only has 1 year left. That gives him even more control to figure out and dictate his future in the offseason.
Well, you've reported for a while that, and basketball fans know this, that basically Giannis is the big domino to fall before the trade deadline. But that means there's other dominoes out there. So regardless of what happens with Giannis, who else should be sort of looking towards in terms of guys that could be on the move by Thursday?
Well, Michael, literally, Giannis is the domino for the entire league because there's layers upon layers that come from where he ends up either directly impacting those 4 teams I mentioned or whoever else potentially has impact like a Ja Morant, right? So if you're a team like Miami, another team like Minnesota that might have interest in a guy like Ja Morant, well, you're going to focus on Giannis. But Ja Morant, there's multiple teams interested in him to see whether he's a fit. The one difference between him and Trae Young, who was traded earlier this trade season, was Trae Young had 1 year left on his deal. Ja Morant has 2 years left. Another name, Anthony Davis. And listen,
Again?
The injury for him sidetracked a lot when he injured his hand early in January. But now the Mavericks are continuing to get calls from Toronto as well as Atlanta. So we'll see if he's on the move. Domantas Sabonis in Sacramento, that's another name to keep your eye on. He's a big man. He just got back in the lineup recently with a torn meniscus. But he's going to be someone, whether you're Toronto, teams like that might have their eye on a big man.
So let me ask this. Because there are situations where other teams could be involved in a Giannis trade, how much of those other guys could still be impacted by a domino that doesn't fall or does fall with Giannis?
Well, every team that's in the Giannis sweepstakes is going to wait until, if it goes to Wednesday, Thursday, they're going to wait for that point. But then there's a tentacle of other teams that have deals potentially lined up with them as listen, Giannis is going to be the A, B, and C option.
Right.
But let's say there's a D, E, and F, right? And so those are the types of players that are going to be impacted by
It would be like
Giannis.
a flurry of activity.
Yeah. Once one thing happens, everything else plays itself out.
Just stay tuned. We go to the NBA, SGA, the Thunder visiting Nikola Jokic and the Nuggets, the top 2 teams in the West, known as Thunder Nuggets. Nuggets down 15-9. Jokic and Peyton Watson. How about a big night for him? He for the Nuggets, 29 points. Up and over Chet Holmgren. Nuggets down 4. Then 5 minutes in the first quarter, Denver down 8. Jokic behind the back. Spencer Jones for 3. Nice little pass from Jokic. Nuggets down 5. Let's go to the second. OKC now up 8. SGA. I'll take it right here. Boop. OKC up 10. Then 30 seconds left in the first half. Denver down. Jamal Murray. Jokic cuts it to 4. On the other end, SGA this time to a wide open Cason Wallace, corner three. It was 62-55 Thunder at the break. Halfway through the third, Denver down 6. Jokic wide open, knocks down that three. The only three of his night. It's 16 points. Nuggets down 3, but here come the Thunder. Wallace, corner three. Then again, Wallace. Not a replay. He just did it again. Call him Brittany.
How about the Wildcats?
Few possessions later, SGA hitting his own threes. The momentum has shifted up 12 are OKC. This time SGA and the foul. It was 101-85 going into the fourth. It's now 116-103. It's that guy again. 34 points, 13 assists. That made it 118-103. Jokic not happy here because, well, SGA was like, mine, I'll take that. Wallace, easy finish. New career high for him, 27 points, and a win for OKC, 121-111. I think at this point, SGA can just be sleeping and he'll drop like 20.
Yeah, it seems
it's
like
his 58th consecutive road game with 20 points or more. That ties Wilt Chamberlain for the longest streak in NBA history. He'll actually have a chance to break the record Wednesday, Thunder Spurs. Guess where you can see that? ESPN, in case it wasn't obvious.
Well, back on the East Coast, LeBron set to play game number 32 of his career at Madison Square Garden. His 28.2 points per game average, second most by visiting player all time, trailing only Michael Jordan's 31.8. Little pregame love there from Carmelo. So we pick it up here, third quarter. Marcus Smart with the lob to LeBron. Year 23, he was just named an All-Star for the 22nd time, extending his own record, still getting it done. And then OG Anunoby spots up for three at the other end. That ties the game at 60. Luka, it's a different game that he plays. A little point of Spike Lee on the sideline. Spike, and all love, 30 points, 15 boards for Luka. Then LeBron driving, contested floater off the glass. Lakers back within 2. At the other end, though, Jalen Brunson to Landry Shamet. That's a 3. The Knicks were up 84-79. Very next possession, it's Brunson creating it for himself with the 3. But here comes LeBron, still paying dudes with reality checks at 41 years old. Lakers are down 5. Brunson, Anunoby, he had a really good night, 25 points, 8 rebounds. So the Knicks are up 90-82. We go to the fourth. Do the Lakers have a run in them? LeBron. Another drive, another floater, 22 points for him, but that's the fewest he's had at MSG since 2020. With less than 6 to play, that's when Shamet starts going cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. There's a 3. Less than 2 to play, off the miss. Mitchell Robinson finds Shamet, another 3. The lead is 12. And then very next possession, Shamet one more time. Knicks win at 112-100. Here's Luka, little middle finger to Jalen, but hey, that's a love middle finger. Sometimes you do it like, yes. I do it sometimes to my friends. I would do it to you, though.
Oh, okay.
Would it be a level of discontent to not play here again? To play in an arena like Madison Square Garden?
I mean, at the end of the day, everything has to come to an end at some point. So no matter when it is, it's going to be like, I would never play again in Madison Square Garden. I would never play again in certain arenas. I would never play again, period. So, I mean, at that point, it doesn't matter. You're going to always miss it. You're going to miss the game in general. So it doesn't, this one will always have like a special place in the journey because it is Madison Square Garden. So, but yeah, when that time comes, yeah, for sure.
It's always a good time to have Tim Legler join us on SportsCenter, but especially tonight because, Tim, look, I don't want to put any words into LeBron's mouth, but that didn't sound like a man to me that's ready to retire. Now, you've seen him play this season. You've called some of his games. What have you seen from his game that would give you the indication that it's even time for him to retire despite his age?
Honestly, from his game, nothing, Mike. I mean, he can keep playing if he wants to. There's no question in my mind. And that's really kind of hard to believe. I'm even saying that at 41 years old, as many years as he's been in the league, as many minutes as he's still playing. The way he looks physically every night, the production, talking about 22, 6, and 7 every night efficiently, over 50% from the floor, this deep into his career, and pretty much had exactly those numbers tonight against the Knicks in Madison Square Garden. So I think for a lot of players, what it's going to come down to later in the year or right after the season ends, I think LeBron James has to ask himself, do I want to put my body through what I have to in the offseason to get ready for another year? but there is nothing really that shows a precipitous decline in his game for the foreseeable future. That's what's really crazy about it, man. This guy is a one-off. I don't know that we'll ever see this again. 23 years at this level. So, I say we all soak it in while we can because it's special to watch it. And I do think he can keep playing for certainly beyond this year, if not more than that.
It really is the concept of the physical toll and having the ability to just keep getting yourself over and over again. What is my favorite game of the night?
Thunder Nuggets.
Thunder Nuggets, which sounds like a problem, but it's not. The Thunder did take care of the Nuggets on this particular night. When you look at how they performed against Denver, what should the rest of the league be paying attention to?
Well, when they have their complement of shooters out there and they shoot the ball the way they did tonight, they're awfully difficult to handle because, a lot of teams shoot that percentage. They're going to be tough to beat, but particularly Oklahoma City. When you get guys like Cason Wallace and Wiggins and Isaiah Joe, Chet Holmgren was stepping out there because all the attention that Shai Gilgeous-Alexander commands from a defense, the number of times he gets multiple defenders to run at him, when they shoot the ball like that around him to go with that defense, it's awfully difficult to figure out a way to beat them because there's no hole in their game. Most of the time, they're a middle-of-the-pack three-point shooting team in terms of attempts, makes, percentages, all of those things. When they light it up like this against a good Denver defense that did what they had to, against Shai and running extra bodies at him, there's no answer for the Oklahoma City Thunder, and I think that's what they really put on notice tonight. But look, make no mistake, these are two teams that very well could see each other with a right to play to go to the NBA Finals, along with some other teams out west that are not going to make it easy. San Antonio, Houston, don't forget about Minnesota either. So there is a lot of teams at the top of the West that are interesting. These two might be the most complete, though, in the Western Conference when it's all said and done.
Yeah, nobody would be mad if we got them in the Western Conference Finals in 7 games. No one would be mad about that matchup at all. Tim Legler, appreciate you, brother. NBA since Christmas. Did you know it was the Suns and the Clippers?
I thought the Hornets were actually going to be in the mix because they've been great recently.
They haven't been that great.
Nope.
Right there. Now, so Kawhi, not named to the All-Star team despite averaging nearly 28 points so far. Here's T. Lou.
Kawhi, I think to me, the last 6 weeks been the best player in the NBA. It was just tough to see, so I feel bad for Kawhi.
I mean, he raised the point there. And then Kawhi came out like, don't act like y'all forgot. Y'all seen my stats. That was a tough bucket in the paint. And then here, splits the defense to the rim. 14 points in the first half for Kawhi. The Clippers were up 6. Third quarter, more of the same from number 2. Mid-range. He got a smile. He smiled?
I don't know who that is.
Uh-oh.
Apparently, he's now been body snatched.
He was loose, and he was doing all the things. He got 2 guys in his face. Didn't matter. Baseline jumper. And the next possession. Oh, why he's serving him up? He's like, yo, I'm not an all-star? This defense is supposed to be good?
It's a popularity.
These are the guys y'all talking about right now? Kawhi goes for 25, 8 rebounds, 5 assists, his 27th consecutive 20-point game. But he's not an all-star. And look, he looks sad, doesn't he?
You can turn that into a meme.
He did look sad.
You can add some tears to it.
So, Clippers, again, the hottest team in the league since Christmas Day, 15-4. Kawhi has done everything for them during that stretch. 29.4 points per game. That's the 5th highest in the league over that span. Last time he scored less than 20, it's way back in, that month where they have Thanksgiving, November.
So last year.